What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. We are going to go through what I've put together so far in my version 1 of the Optimized Life, a Blueprint for Success. If you're new to my channel, my name is Zach Bowman. Welcome. Thanks for joining in. And let's get started. So we're going to talk today about the Optimized Life, a Blueprint for Success. Before we get started, we're going to read some quotes that I have come up with over the past few years and something that I try to live by every day. Number 1, be your own best friend. It's pretty simple. The only person that matters is yourself. The only person that can do anything is yourself. You are stuck with yourself for the foreseeable future. And at the end of the night, you are the person that goes to bed by yourself. Regardless if you're married or if you're in a relationship, what I'm trying to say is you got to be your own best friend. You got to be a cheerleader for yourself, and you got to just love your life. Number 2, live with intention. I'm trying to focus on living with intention. I'm trying to focus on dating with intention, eating with intention, not drinking with intention, just living my life with intention, because I want to get what I put in out. So input equals output. Number 3, if you have issues in your life, go to therapy. Try to fix yourself. Fixing yourself or working on yourself first will help the external world reflect your internal world. So if shit's not going well, your external world is probably not going well either. If your internal world is going good, chances are your external world will probably be better than it was, if you were in a bad internal state. Number 4, you already have the best gift. You just haven't discovered it yet. We'll get into that later. Lastly, small wins win. When we look at rebuilding a life from illness and just rebuilding a life or starting from scratch and trying to get to where you want to get, whether that's, buying a house, buying a car, buying a lake house, traveling the world, setting up your kids for success, whatever it is, we all have goals. We all have aspirations. We all want to get to the next level. The most important thing to do is you have to recognize that there are some things that you need to sacrifice in your current day-to-day life in order to get to the next level. I'm not saying, you got to be David Goggins and go run 30 miles a day or do 1,000 push-ups a day. What I'm saying is, how do I incrementally get better 1% day over day, so when I'm 60, I'll be fit, healthy, and happy. Long-term, health is wealth. I've learned that dealing with Lyme disease. I've learned that going through the struggle of trying to overcome illness. I've learned how to not be mean to myself, how to influence my mind to be positive. And I have great people in my life, great family, and all of you that have helped give me a different perspective and move my life forward. I am eternally grateful for, and I wish you success in your life. I truly want all of my friends to win. I want to see you succeed. So with that being said, we are going to look at an analysis of hidden cost over a 34-year challenge period. We can see we're spending money daily on tasks that don't advance your life forward, whether that be alcohol, energy drinks, gas station items, coffee at Starbucks, extra takeout instead of cooking your own food, subscriptions, cigarettes, vaping, smoking weed, consuming nicotine, impulse purchases on Amazon or other platforms, lottery tickets, gambling, designer clothes, Ubers, taxis, and unused gym memberships. Those are just a few columns that we'll talk about. In the first chart, we are going to do a cost analysis. If you were to save money and invest this money instead of spending on the aforementioned categories, what can you do to transform your life over a 34-year period? The thing that I think is most interesting is that society programs us, or I guess not even programs us, but in society, we're supposed to work, drink, play hard, and, invest and not be where we want to be long term. I'm sure you guys are making good money right now. I'm sure you have a great life right now. I'm not challenging that. What I am challenging is wasting money on a daily basis that adds up monthly, yearly, and over the course of a 34-year period. So if we are just doing regular life, we can see that spending money on alcohol goes to $9 a day, $270 a month, $3,000 a year, or $110,000 over a 34-year period. I don't know if you drink energy drinks. I don't know if you buy stuff like that. I don't know if you just waste your money on drinks that aren't good for you. I don't know if you like processed sugar. Instead of just drinking coffee at your house, you buy energy drinks. You're spending $1 daily on energy drinks, $25 monthly, $300 yearly, or over the course of a 34-year period, $10,000. Gas station items. Instead of packing before you go out on trips, buying Gatorades, buying gummy bears like I like to. $1 daily, $20 monthly, $240 yearly, or $8,160 over a 34-year period. We'll go through this chart a little quicker because we got a lot to cover. Coffee, $24K over a 34-year period. Extra takeout, $48K over a 34-year period. Subscriptions, how many do we fucking need? $16K over a 34-year period. Cigarettes, $19K. Vaping, $18K. Smoking weed, $40K. Nicotine, $8K. Impulse shopping, $81K. Lottery tickets and gambling, $12K. Designer clothing and shoes, $30K. Ubers and taxis, $40K. Unused gym memberships, $20K. If you look at being a total 100% degenerate, and I don't use that term to make fun of people, I use that term to just, based off the math that I used with Grok, you're spending money on stuff that is not advancing your life forward. In my opinion. And my opinion doesn't matter. What matters is your opinion. If we look at a 20%, 40%, 60%, 80% cost of being a 100% degenerate, pissing away your money, living your life day to day, spending money on alcohol, energy drinks, gas station items, coffee, takeout, extra subscriptions, cigarettes, vaping, weed, nicotine, impulse shopping, lottery tickets, designer clothes, Ubers, and unused memberships, you are spending almost $500,000 in a 34-year period. We'll take conservative numbers from this over 20, 40, 60, 80%, with the lowest being $98K. So if we look at a potential investment portfolio and a cost analysis, we can see that if you were to invest that money instead in the S&P 500, Bitcoin, Magnificent Seven, a stock portfolio such as a retirement portfolio with like a 2030 plan, 2040 plan, 2050 plan, 2060 plan, 2070 plan, gold, silver, leaving your money in cash, real estate, NASDAQ 100, emerging markets, bonds, and the Russell 2000, you can see over the course of a 34-year period, you have plenty of time to make enough money to retire. Thoughts and decisions today impact where you're going to be in 30 or 40 years. I've said this before in all my other videos. I'm no saint. I'm on day 88 of not drinking alcohol. I used to drink a lot, or not really a lot, but I consumed alcohol. Those that know me, those that have partied with me, know that I like to have a good time. But I'm challenging the way that we're supposed to do things, and I want to be sober. I want to enjoy my life. I want to be present fully. And in 30 years, I want to look back knowing that I made the best choice every single day to, one, reach my number one objective, which is to become ripped, shredded, and healthy by the time I am 60 years old. So we have a long runway to accomplish these goals. Stuff doesn't happen overnight. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is a plan to change your life. This is the Optimized Life, a blueprint for success, version 1. So you can see long term, if we just have 20% of the degenerate cost, if you're at 100% degen, 98K turns into $2 million in the S&P 500, $48 million in Bitcoin, $11 million in the Magnificent Seven. If you just want to be conservative with your standard retirement portfolios, you'll have, about $1.8 million. Gold, if you're Peter Schiff, 372,000. Silver, like Robert Kiyosaki, who now supports Bitcoin, 268K. If you just leave it in cash, 98K. Real estate, it's going to go up, 1.3 million. NASDAQ 100, 4.6 million. Emerging markets, 1.8 million. Bonds, $372,000. And small cap stocks, the Russell 2000, you're going to have over $3 million. So when I look at the past 10 years, regardless of my illness and dealing with that situation and trying to overcome health obstacles, we have money to retire. You have money to set up your lineage for success if you make decisions today that propel your life in a positive, forward-moving manner. Let's start with some cost that you might overlook. In the chart, we can see why your car is fucking you over long-term. Car payment trap. If we look at some punchy data, we can see the average car monthly payment for new, used, and luxury cars ranges, and this might be a little high, so don't get upset with me. I just used Grok to come up with some data. New, $737 monthly. Used, $520 monthly. If you get a luxury car, you're spending $1,000K. Or, yeah, $1,000 or, yeah, $1,000 with a luxury car. The average amount financed for a new car is $42K. The amount financed for a used car is $28K. The average loan terms monthly or by months, 68.8, 67.2. Interest rates for a new car, 6.8%. Used car, 11%. Car finance lifetime, 5 to 7 years. I'm not saying don't get a new car. I'm saying don't get a new car for 34 years. Don't have a car payment for 34 years. Buy a car, maintain it, drive it into the ground, and you might have some more money long term. Again, this is a long-term strategy. This is not going to get you rich overnight. This is changing your life today. So in 30 years, you can look back and say, fuck yes, I did it. And now I'm good. And you're already good right now. You have to believe that within yourself. The total U.S. auto debt is $1.5 trillion. Delinquency, 4.6% of loans. Trade-in value, $13,000. Tesla 3, Model 3, $42K. High trim flex, $55K. If you lease, you got different payments, or your monthly average lease is $581. So if we look at just a quick calculation, from a total loan amount of $28K for a cheap used car, $42K for an average new car, $60K for a luxury car, $42K for a Tesla Model 3, $55K for a high trim flex car, or if you want to do a cash option and get something that's going to last you a long time, that's not going to break the bank, we're going to see what happens long term with that money. Over a 34-year period, if you have a car payment every year, you're going to have paid a total of $250K, $343K, $367K, $260K, $350K, $230K, or if you go through about 5 cars, $100K, just using cash, saving your money. My math is a little off. I don't know why my Google Sheet wouldn't work with this, but the S&P 500 at 10%. I mean, I don't have to go through these numbers, guys. Are you driving your retirement today when you could save your money, buy a car with cash, and invest that money instead? I'm not telling you what to do. All I'm doing is a simple cost analysis, playing devil's advocate, challenging the status quo. When we look at the cost of drinking, we can see that alcohol adds up. Over a 44-year period, if you start drinking from 21 all the way through 65, and sure, these numbers might be a little skewed, they might be a little high, they might be a little low given your lifestyle, I don't know. But you're going to be spending $92K in your lifetime at grocery stores, alcohol at grocery stores, $145K on liquor, beer, wine, spirits at the bar, restaurant out, assuming $4K a year. Drunk food. I know you guys want to eat food when you're drunk because I love eating food when I'm drunk or buzzed. And I continue to eat and drink until I go to bed. And then I wake up and then I got to have a hangover remedy. So going to food, going to brunch. I don't know if you smoke weed. I don't know if you need Advil. I don't know if you need to go to the doctor because your stomach is fucked up. You are going to have lost productivity. So given those circumstances, we're spending $67K in your lifetime on drunk food. $62K on hangover remedies. Ubers are expensive. They're only going up. $72K over a lifetime. Travel, $57K. Impulse purchases, $85K. This number might be a little off. If you're looking at being a 100% degenerate like we've talked about before, and this isn't to make fun of you, this is just saying balls to the walls, living life every single day, trying to have as much fun as you want. And I'm not saying don't have fun, don't travel, don't do the things you want to do. I'm saying challenge what you do at the expense of alcohol and move forward with your life. If we look at 20%, 40%, 60%, 80%, we can see that, on the low end, you're spending over $100K on alcohol-related activities in a 44-year period. When we look at just rebuilding your life, and not even rebuilding your life, but just trying to manage your money, we've taken some national averages based on Grok. We've calculated that the average American living in North Carolina makes about $54K a year pre-tax, or $43K a year post-tax, which equates to $3,600 a month. If we look at the chart on the left, we can see that the average cost of living in NC for a single male, and I know my circumstances are different than your guys's because a lot of my peers are married, have kids, have houses, etc., etc. It doesn't matter. All I'm saying is start calculating your cost. Start planning for the future because 10 years pass by pretty quick. The next 10 years is going to pass by even quicker. And even though time is relative and it's been the same since we've been a baby, it feels like it's going by faster the older you get. In terms of rent, the NC average is $1,400. Energy bill, $100. Food expenses, $350. Phone bill, $70. Daily investment fund, $10 a day or $300 a month. If you drive a F-150 like I do, $200 a month on gas. If you want to play golf twice a week at $80 a round, that's $160 a month. Internet bill, you got to have that Wi-Fi, $60 a month. Insurance, you got to protect your vehicle, $120 a month. If you want to invest some money into the S&P 500 or Bitcoin, as we'll go into a little bit deeper later on, $100 each gives you $640 of fuck around budget to drink alcohol, travel, buy your significant other presents, do whatever you want. I'm not telling you what to do with your money. All I'm saying is you can live your life, invest hard, and set yourself up for success, even if you don't make a lot of money. If we look at the investment calculator, given a $43K annual income, monthly rent of $1,400, your annual rent expenses are going to be $16K. Your regular expenses from the chart before are going to be $16K, resulting in your total annual expenses being $33K. Annual savings of $10K, we minus annual income from the total annual expenses. We invest $500 a month into Bitcoin, $500 a month into the S&P 500. If that S&P 500 grows at 13% like it did last year, and Bitcoin grows at a growth rate of 29%, as forecasted by Michael Saylor at Strategy, we can see that your upfront investment of $1,000 will turn into significant savings over the course of a 44-year period. And you're going to have money. You're going to be able to do the things that you want. You're going to be able to set up your kid's life for success. And you're going to not be stressed out when you get older. $500K, $45 million. I mean, these numbers might be a little astronomical. We can play with them all we want. All I'm saying is there is an opportunity cost to reducing your alcoholic intake by 5, 10, 15%, or eliminating it completely from your lifestyle. When we look at the retirement calculator, we can see that with the numbers inputted before, modifying them to $100 a month for the S&P 500 and Bitcoin, we can see that you're going to have over $6,000 monthly to retire. Not too shabby. When we look at Bitcoin, we can see that it's a complicated beast. And it's interesting to see the total breakdown of ownership. People say that there's manipulation in Bitcoin. People say that there's manipulation in the stock market. There is. But when you look at the Bitcoin ownership, you can see that individuals own the majority of the Bitcoin. So when BlackRock buys, when Fidelity buys, when MicroStrategy or Strategy buys, sure, it might impact the market, but long term, the holders control the power. I think it's incredible that it's a decentralized protocol. I think it's incredible that there's only going to be 21 million ever. I think it's incredible that that number is even lower than it is because there's a lot of lost Bitcoin. I think it's going to be very difficult to own one Bitcoin in 20 years, and that's probably on the conservative end. If we look at MicroStrategy, and I did this back in January, we can see that they are buying a ton. They own 2% of the total amount of Bitcoin. Fidelity owns 1%. BlackRock owns 2%. With a modest $3,000 in, this is all hypothetical. My numbers are hypothetical. None of what I say is financial advice. Don't do what I'm doing. I'm just doing a cost analysis experiment for myself and documenting it so I can look back in 10, 20, 30 years and see what happens. My hypothetical stack is 0.000000. I don't know how many zeros I already counted, but 14%. When we look at individuals, they own 58%, lost 18%. Governments own 2.4%. Satoshi owns 4.8%. Funds and ETFs and ETPs own 5.38%. So when we look at the long-term cost, we can see that Bitcoin is a good investment. I sent an email to the AMC CEO, Aaron Adams, and suggested that he buy some Bitcoin for his balance sheet because their stock is not performing well, even though they have record number revenue years, year after year. I think there's manipulation going on with their stock. I could be wrong, but long term, I think a lot of people, company-wise, are going to start adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet. Politics aside, Bitcoin's been around for 16 years, and I think it is disrupting the financial industry, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens, given we're at a 2.5% adoption rate right now. And I mean, nobody thought the internet was going to take off. No one thought email was going to take off. No one thought Blockbuster was ever going to go out of business. No one thought Redbox was ever going to go out of business. I mean, look at Netflix taking over. What's going to happen to Google? No one's Googling stuff anymore. They're using ChatGPT and Grok. There's disruption at every level. At some point, something will probably disrupt Bitcoin. But I don't know how long that's going to last. I don't know how long that's going to take. All I know is I'm thinking differently than traditional assets. And I think it's interesting to just research something that you find interesting, because if you can get creative and stop consuming as much, whether it be on social media or Facebook or whatever you want to use, I think it changes your narrative and your perspective when you start creating instead of consuming. If we look at a daily investment needed to buy $1 in terms of sats based on Fidelity's $370 million investment back in January, you can see that I would have to invest $36.50 into Bitcoin to achieve the cost equivalent of one Satoshi, or $1, which equals 983 sats. I know I'm getting into the weeds here, but I did this specifically for BlackRock, Fidelity, and MicroStrategy. BlackRock ETF bought over $200 million worth of Bitcoin, or the equivalent of what an individual would buy of $2,000. That equals $1 worth of Satoshis at 983. If we look at the last one, MicroStrategy, they invested $100 million into Bitcoin. That would equate to me investing $990 into Bitcoin today. So I know we've gone through some specifics. We've gone through, just everything's an opportunity cost. And that's the point that I'm trying to make. I think it's interesting to talk openly about money and investing and trying to build wealth, because ultimately we all want to be able to do the things that we want to do each and every day, regardless of what you do for work, what your routine is, what your goals are, and where you want to be in life. Money is important to some extent. You need money to do the things that you need and want to do. So in conclusion, to wrap up the video for the Optimized Life, a Blueprint for Success version 1, let's go through the quotes that I've come up with over the past few years. Be your own best friend. Live with intention. Go to therapy if you need to. You already have the best gift. You just haven't discovered it yet. And small wins win. I hope you guys have a great day, and we will catch you later.